Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. I have a really great guest on today. Over 35 years, he's established himself as one of the world's leading typeface designers, creating some of the most widely used typefaces, including Interstate, Whitney, and Gotham. He received his BFA in graphic design from Rhode Island School of Design in 1992 and joined the faculty of Yale University School of Art in 96 and has lectured throughout the United States, Europe, and Australia. His work is in the permanent collections of the Victoria and Albert Museum in London and the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Please join me in welcoming and celebrating Tobias Frere-Jones. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Sure.
Great. Question one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
As you said in your intro, I'm a typeface designer. I make typefaces or fonts as they're more colloquially known. Um, I've been doing this for 35 years, and um, currently I'm the founder and the director of typography at Frere-Jones Type. It's the practice that I founded in 2015.
Great. And just a quick note for the audience, if you guys are interested in the big typography episodes, please check out our early episode with Eric Speakerman. Question two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
I think to to understand what I do and how I do it and why, I think you would not only need to, from one side understand, graphic design and typesetting technology and all of that, but on the sort of philosophical side, I think my life and my way of thinking have been influenced very heavily by being born and raised in New York City. And I think, you know, subconsciously or not, I think the way this city works uh is mirrored in the way that I think. That for better or worse, everything and everybody is here. Um and it all kind of everything gets mashed together into the same chaotic mess. And that's exactly how New York can produce such amazing things because it is so noisy and weird. That's just how it works.
Great, love that. Okay, question three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
Well, as as a teenager, uh, I knew that I wanted to be in some kind of creative field. That was very clearly what I wanted to do, and I had narrowed it down to being a writer, which is something that's um, uh, uh, um, uh, prominent. It's sort of in the family tree. My father's a writer. My great grandfather was the novelist Edgar Wallace. And I enjoyed that too. The problem was I also really wanted to be a painter. Loved abstract art, and I thought that I would have to choose one and leave the other behind. And pretty much by accident, I found this field of type-based design. I didn't know this was a field, and I realized that I could treat this as this impossible intersection between being a writer and working with the language and being a painter and working with abstract form. And once I realized what this field was made of, that settled it. There's clearly nothing else in the world that I ought to be doing.
Perfect. So some people struggle with number four, and the question is, what does your future look like?
Uh, I am I'm trying to simplify my life wherever I can. So um, I think my I want my future to look like something that is more calm, and at the same time more I don't know, more adventurous. Um, I think it's easy to hang on to all the little tasks that you need to do to run a business. Um, it's much like designing a typeface. There are just hundreds of little details that that you need to keep your hands on. And yeah, hopefully I'll uh, be able to focus on just the type as much as I can manage that.
Great. So five is about location and it's unique to this show. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
I think I think place is always there. I think of it as something that's sort of like gravity. Like you can't really kind of ignore it because it'll be there whether you like it or not. And I remember a prominent designer of the past. I was looking up the attribution and I couldn't figure out who it was, if it was Roger Escafon or Gerard Unger. Um, but the quote was something to the effect that typefaces cannot help but breathe in the air of their particular time. And I would add place to that idea as well. Um, typefaces, some typefaces just can't help but look like they're French or they're German or British. Um, and as I was saying before, I think some some trace of New York is going to be in pretty much everything that I do.
Hmm. Great. Number six, you're starting from the beginning. What advice do you give your former younger self?
I would tell myself to not forget about the rest of your life. Once I got into this field, I threw myself in as deeply as I could, and I was at it day after day, night after night, every weekend, um, because I loved it, and I said all these ideas that I want to work on, but it yeah, I didn't really need to do that. I think it was not a particularly healthy way to live. So yes, I would plead with myself to, uh, do something other than work. I probably would have ignored it, but that's what I would try to tell myself.
Hmm. Great. And what's a day in your life like?
Um, First off, coffee. That's really an important part of every day. Um, and then planning in one way or another, and as much as possible, drawing. Um, I I made a conscious decision to keep uh, this company small. Right now there are 5 people in total. For many years, it was only 4. Um, and I did that to make sure that design work would still be uh, a part of my day. Actually drawing and getting my hands on these shapes. I'd been in a position before where uh, the sort of team of designers had gotten so large that I wasn't drawing anymore. I was just watching other people do it, and I really did not want to go back to that kind of um, uh, kind of situation. So because that's the best part of the day when I get to do that.
Great. So eight is about lifelong learning. It's a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Um, I try to how can I put this? That I don't always know what I don't know. And it's difficult to get out of that sort of blind spot. So I find that listening to other people, and not having sort of preconceived notions about what they're going to say, that is the best antidote. But especially if that person is younger than me, then that's even better. I think it's also uh, I think it's also important to look at uh, ideas and uh, accounts from outside typography. This is a field that tends to look back on itself in its history, and some of that is unavoidable just because of just how language works and what we need to maintain. But I think looking outside this narrow field is a way to keep the learning going.
Great. And 9 is about tools. What tools do you use? Do you use both digital and analog tools?
Um, I use analog very rarely, perhaps just to scribble something down in some very sort of anecdotal way. Um, I try to get on screen as early as possible because the the real action of a typeface is not really in any specific shape, but it's in how these shapes talk to each other and work with each other or fight each other. Um, and so I need to see the combinations of those letters turning into words. I need to see that as quickly as possible, and I can't do that on paper. Um, so I get onto screen uh, as early as I can, so I can see, what the composition is like, which is really between the letters. It's not really the letters themselves.
Great. And halfway number 10, how do you deal with work life or life work balance?
Uh, that's kind of hard because it's I mean, I have the sort of good luck uh to be doing what I love for work. Um so to come away from it feels a little, a little weird. Or not weird, just it's hard. That's really what I'm trying to say. It's difficult. Um but I try to keep in mind sort of all those other parts of my life that um that support me as well, particularly my family.
Great. So 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what might you be doing?
I would probably be painting or or perhaps trying to write music, something I occasionally do for a very taking a very brief break. Um, uh, or we'd have a big house in the country where we look after rescue dogs. That's probably another sort of alternate idea. Um, I should say way back at the beginning when I was trying to figure out sort of what field I would do. I did have an idea that if like this whole art design thing didn't work out, I could be a locksmith, because the sort of taking apart those really intricate pieces of machinery is something that like I could imagine doing. And people will be locking themselves out of their apartments for eternity. So it seemed like a pretty stable profession.
Nice. And what would you not like to do with your career?
Oh, I mean, like what profession would I not want to do?
Hmm.
Right. Um, I think any sort of cooking or anything to do with food. I'm terrible at cooking. Um, so really, it would be a good idea if I was just not anywhere near that.
And do you have a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I don't have a full sentence. I think there's turns of phrase uh, that I enjoy for for one reason or another. There's this great designer, type designer from the past, William Addison Dwiggins, who once described himself as a black and white smith. And I thought that was I don't know, it's an amusing way but also accurate way to describe this field.
And how about a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Uh, President Donald Trump.
You're choosing one word to describe yourself. What word do you choose?
I would go with soup because it's much like how I work, that there's a uh, just a place where ideas, pieces of ideas, get thrown in, and they all simmer into, you know, some kind of idea that comes out at the end. The stories behind the designs that I make are rarely simple. They rarely have just one motivation behind them. There'll be, uh, a number of things that are thrown into the mix.
Great. And what keeps you up at night?
Missed opportunities.
Hmm. How about a dream you're chasing?
I would like to I would like to travel more. I'd like that to be more a more prominent uh, uh, part of work and life. I love to go to new places, and I want to spend more time doing that.
Mhm. Last few here. Number 18, what inspires you?
I think it's those sort of unexpected connections between things that you wouldn't expect to be connected. Um, like uh, it was like I found someone explaining that the height of so many apartment buildings in New York City is quite consistent. It tops out at 5 or 6 stories, and the reason for that is the Croton Reservoir, miles and miles north of here, is that same distance, that same elevation above sea level, and just the physics will stop working in your favor if you try to build higher than that. If you're working with 19th century technology to supply water to your tenants, and this, I just find uh, that connection between the geology and physics and architecture and urban planning is just that's just exciting.
Hmm. Great. And number 19, any advice you'd like to share?
Uh, I think is this for anyone, for younger designers, or
Up to you.
okay. I think for younger designers, I think I would hope that they can find. I would advise them to really sort of focus on finding their voice rather than chasing what the latest trend is. I think that's often a losing proposition. And I think that's also how you make the trends rather than following them.
Great. And finally, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you and what's our call to action?
It is probably the best way to keep in touch and find out what's happening is the website, Frere-Jones.com, or the blog that's on there as well. Um, our Instagram account is the social media channel that's most active these days, so you can go there as well.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining today. I learned about you as a teenager in design school, so this is a real privilege to record with you. So thanks so much for joining.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.